Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Regina Sunshine, coming to you live from the Regina Sunshine Show. Yes, here at Regina Sunshine Global Network. Today, of course, is August the 20th, and it's a beautiful day. I know y'all might not think it's a beautiful day outside, but it's always a beautiful day inside here at Regina Sunshine Global Networks. And I'm so excited to have some amazing guests live in studio with me today. We're going to have with us, let's see who we have. Deidre Walker, Nakia Pope, and Miss Shannon. I think I'm supposed to say, is it Deneen? Ah, I did it right. Live here in studio with me. It's going to be a great day, and I'm so excited that you guys are here with me. I do want to mention, I know some of y'all saw the post about this. Normally, I don't post personal information or anything that has to be that's related to health or anything of that nature. And let me tell you why. Because I am a believer, and I believe in the power of the spoken word. And I'm very careful what I allow people, the information I give people to speak over me and over my life. And especially when it comes to my health or my family. The only reason I made that post is because so many people knew that I fell, and I'd already heard that I broke something. And so I made sure that I made that post so I could clear it up. Now, it's not that cute. And Christine tells me to stop using this arm so much. But I just want to let you guys know all is well. I know some of y'all probably thought I was at the house in the bed with the covers up around my neck. But we got work to do. So I have been taking it light. But we are in studio today. So a big shout out to all my supporters and family and friends that have messaged and posted and been concerned. I'm okay. I'm surprised my mama hadn't gotten in her F-150 and drove to Georgia after I called her this morning to tell her. But all is well, mama. See, I'm good. Everything's good down here in Georgia. So, again, it's going to be a great show. Got some phenomenal women here today. I do want to give a big shout out to the sponsors for today's show. First of all, to Lanita Mitchell Blackwell with Leading Through Living Community, and also with Bold Favor Magazine. If you don't know, Leading Through Living Community houses everything that Lanita Mitchell Blackwell does, including her publishing company, including, of course, Bold Favor Magazine, her African book project, some of everything. So just check out her website, leadingthroughliving.com, and see everything that this amazing woman does, including coaching me. So thank you, Lanita, for always supporting my efforts. I always tell people say they support you, but when they show up and invest time and money in what you do, that's when they really support you. So thank you, Lanita, because she has always supported me from the first day that I met her. My second sponsor is a new sponsor. It's Makeup Express. They are out of South DeKalb Mall. They also have a VIP travel service. Now, they didn't make me up today, but for those of you who saw me the past 2 weekends with these bright red ruby lips and everything, and everybody want to know where those lips came from, that was Makeup Express. So you can look them up on Facebook or Instagram. Look for Makeup Express. But again, you don't have to go to South DeKalb Mall. They will actually travel to wherever you are and get you right. And everybody that has seen my face after they have made me up has wanted to know who they are and how they can get in association with them. So a shout out to Makeup Express for sponsoring the Regina Sunshine Show. And we look forward to working with you guys on many, many more projects. All right. I do want to make a couple of announcements before I go to the first break. I will be one of the speakers. Actually, I think they're calling me the keynote for this. I think it's August the 26th. This Sunday is the Women of Honor event hosted by Tina Bridges, where they'll be honoring some amazing women, including my coach, Lanita Mitchell Blackwell, and the amazing mother of twin divine, our Bold Plus ambassadors, Miss Connie McFarland, is also one of the honorees. But again, that's this Sunday, 4 p.m. I'll be one of the speakers at the Women of Honor event. You can simply go to Eventbrite and look up Women of Honor, or look up Tina Bridges on Facebook or Instagram, and I'm sure you'll find that flyer. And come on out and support women doing positive things in the community. It's always great when you see, especially women, uplifting and encouraging and edifying other women, okay? The other thing I mentioned before, I think last week, is that we are doing a Bold Plus cruise to Cuba next year. We are still hashing out our final details, but you want to stay tuned because we're going to do some cool things on the boat. We're going to do a mixer, and we're going to have an empowerment event. And you don't have to be a plus size person to travel with us. It's just going to be a Bold Plus. Now, we will be there with our fine and fabulous selves. But you can travel with us as well. Just come and have a good time with the Bold Plus family. So to get more information about that, stay tuned to my Facebook page as well as the Bold Plus Facebook and Instagram pages. We'll be posting more information about the Cuba trip. And I think that, well, I guess I need to mention Curvy and Confident. On November the 17th, we will be hosting the second annual Regina Sunshine Curvy and Confident Award Show and Fashion Show here at Regina Sunshine Global Networks. And if you were here last year, you heard about last year. You know, we had an amazing time. And not only do we honor some amazing women, but we have our Awesome Girls Award Show as well. And this will be our 4th year of hosting the Awesome Girl Awards with Regina Sunshine. Well, it used to be just the Regina Sunshine Show, but now it's Regina Sunshine Global Network. So we do have the call out for girls. If you know a girl aged 5 to 17 that is excelling in whatever area of gifting that she possesses, if she's a singer, if she's an entrepreneur, if she's an inventor, you know, whatever that area of gifting that is specifically hers that she's excelling in, nominate her. Go to the Regina Sunshine Show at gmail.com and tell us the young girl's name, give us some background information, and why you think she should be an Awesome Girl honoree this year, all right? And if you don't know, this is not just about having them come and be honored. There's always some secret, special, exciting gifts that we do for the girls. So don't hesitate to nominate a girl. Her life could be changed. I promise you, the girls that have been on our show, as well as the boys have been a part of the Young Boss Awards, have had life-changing experiences because of some of the connections we were able to help them make with that award show. All right, well, that is it. For those who know me, you know I go to the first break talking about something I'm thankful for. Well, I am thankful for this only being this. How about that? I don't like to be injured, but I'm so thankful that, you know, unlike some other people, I was able to get up and go on about my business after I fell, as opposed to having somebody come and cart me off, right, Christine, and put me on the back of a 911 ambulance. So I'm thankful that I am well and all is well with me. And again, I'm thankful for people who love me and support me, who've been checking on me, because that makes all the difference in the world when people love you, no matter what. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. When we come back from break, we'll have our first guest up. Let me see who I have coming up. I do have coming up first Miss Deidre Walker. You are live with Regina Sunshine here on the Regina Sunshine Show at, yes, the Regina Sunshine Global Network. All right, you guys, you're back live with Regina Sunshine here on the Regina Sunshine Show at Regina Sunshine Global Networks. And I'm so excited to have our first guest of the day here with us. Welcome to the show, Miss Deidre Walker.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you today?
Doing good, doing good. I always start off an interview talking about how I met someone.
Yes.
And we met at Farai Caldwell's very first Atlanta African American Book Festival.
Yes.
So tell me how you got connected with the book festival.
Well, I do many different things, and more recently, I've been taking pictures for the author Andrew Snorton, and I was at one of his events taking pictures, and that's when I met Farai. And from there, Farai and I, we had a chance to talk about his vision and his goal, And I just told him how I would love to help him to capture
Yes.
what his vision and goal was for the festival. And so from there, we, just kept plugging along
I
until
love
it actually came to be. Yes, he's such an
Isn't
awesome
he?
person. Yes, yes.
We need to have him on a singles dating show over here. I'm sorry. I'm going to be like married for right off to somebody. Well, so you mentioned you were there
Yes.
as a photographer.
Yes.
So tell us how you got into photography.
Well, back, let's say, maybe in 1909, excuse me, 2009, I divorced after being with my ex-husband for about 15 years. And one of my best friends, he realized that I was struggling with having to share my children, because never in my life would I thought I would have to share. And so on weekends when they weren't with me, I was just kind of around. And he was like, no, you get your camera. That's where your peace is, and get out the house. So he continued to encourage me, get your camera, get out the house. And I've always taken pictures, throughout my children's lives with sporting events and things like that. And people are like, oh, can you do pictures for us? But it wasn't until later, after like 2010, that I decided, people like my work. Let me consider turning it into a business. And so about 2010, I actually turned it into a business. The business is called Emery Rose Photography, and it's named after my children. My son is Preston Emery, and my daughter is Olivia Rose. And so that's where the name came from. And around 2015, I decided to go a little bit further with the business and turn it into a corporation. And so we're Emery Rose Photography, and we're LLC.
That's what's
And
up.
so I'm just so excited that, the growth and just all the things that we've been able to do with the company. My passion is sports photography and also musical events. But as time has actually come along, people have seen my work and they're like, oh, can you do a wedding? And it's gone from a wedding to a baby shower to this to that. And so it's to the point now that, different people with different, different areas of their lives, they, often call us or call me, to take pictures of them, to capture those moments for them. And so, so again, it just, I've always been that photographer since high school. I did classes. I even took pictures when we were in elementary school.
Yes, this is a long time.
It's a long time, but it never actually materialized into something until it was just at that point in my life. What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? And, what's next for me?
It's always interesting how these transitions happen because your original, I guess, your area of education or your background was not in photography. What is your area of education and background?
I've been, this is my 19th year as being an educator. I've taught 5th grade for 17 years and 2nd grade for 1. I've done that for years. However, I do incorporate photography within my classroom. I also try to find ways to include photography with children to drive that interest and things like that. When I was in high school, I did take like graphic arts classes. We did have the dark room and things like that. However, for in taking like the formal, photography class and getting a photography degree, at this time I do not. However, a lot of it, was learned as I went along. I'm almost like the drummer in church. He can't read the music, but he knows how to play. So, so a lot of things I've had to teach myself. I had to get those books so that I could be more familiar with, the other part of the photography that I wasn't as familiar with over the years.
Well, see, I mentioned that because so often we start out in one area and then life and purpose drives us into other areas. Like for me, I'm a chemical engineer by education. But now I do a lot in media. But so I start off in one place, but as life twists and turns, you find yourself in places that you didn't imagine, but it feels right. So I guess that's what I want to ask you. So even though this wasn't where you started, have you found a place of joy with photography?
Yeah, with photography, it allows me to connect to so many different communities. I do so much in the community. I'm a community advocate. Currently, I serve as the vice president of the United Ebony Society, and we put on the Dr. Martin Luther King Parade in Gwinnett County. And so I've always been their official photographer. And so in addition to the role that I play on the board and, setting up programs and things throughout the year, I enjoy getting out and meeting the crowd, the group that continue to come year after year, and taking pictures and capturing that moment of dealing with the parade, and just like recently with the Juneteenth celebration, things like that. I also serve as the president of Barrow County Habitat for Humanity.
Wow.
And even with that, again, whenever we have certain events, I have had the opportunity to take pictures, to capture the things. For a while in Gwinnett County, I was capturing pictures of families when homes were dedicated to them. And that is just such a joy to be able to connect with those families. And so with photography and with the things that I do in the community, it has allowed me to connect with families and feel comfortable. I'm so used to being behind the camera. I am, just when I have to come in front of the camera, I'm not so comfortable. But a lot of times when the camera is in my hand, a different personality comes out. And especially when I'm like on stage and I'm filming some type of musical event, if I have my camera in my hand, I'm gonna work the crowd, I'm gonna talk to the people. But the moment that the camera isn't in my hand, I can't speak to anyone.
And see, and that's what I was thinking, because when we were talking earlier, you were talking about being nervous. I remember when I met you, you were talking to everybody. Hey, girl, can I take your picture? I mean, you were on it. But I understand what you're saying, because then you feel like the focus is on you. But you know what? One great thing about you being in front of the cameras does allow people to hear your story. Yes. And it needs to be heard, because let me tell you something, there are so many people who think single-mindedly, I got to have a career and a family, and that's it. But there are so many other areas of gifting and purpose inside of us that when you don't tap into it, you miss out.
Right.
So if you think about it, if you had just done strictly education and never done it, there'd be a whole piece missing.
Right.
Right? So it's important for people to hear those types of things. Yes. So you said you mainly do sports photography and music.
Now, those are my passions.
However,
over the years, with just the interest with people, I do a lot of things. Often organizations or corporate groups will call and ask for us to document something, whether it is just like an award ceremony or things like that. I also connect with like a girls group. I know I can, and they recently, I can't wait to, mention them a little bit later to you with the event that you have coming up, but it's a young girls group, and they had their first award ceremony. I was able to, be there and take pictures with them. And again, it just really allows me to connect with people. And I think, again, if I didn't have my camera in my hand, I probably would be on the planning side, the board side, because I'm really great at serving on someone's board. But being the one, in the forefront, that is not something that I'm as comfortable with, or unless I'm in the classroom. Then that's different.
In the classroom, that's different. That means you're on the stage all the time.
Yes. In the classroom, that's different. I definitely have that fifth grade humor. But, so often when I don't have my camera, which, this year was, part of my challenge from, my family and some great friends, like, you have to get out more. You have to put your camera down. And, and it felt awkward even coming here without my camera, and so thank goodness, my assistant is here, because other than that, I'm just so used to having my camera with me. But again, just so many things that I do within the community, and I connect. I enjoy connecting people. So often I forget the different people that I've met along the way, and how I've been able to connect the different groups with each other, and how we've been able to, benefit each other. I serve as a coordinator for the North Georgia Roundtable. And what I do, I actually kind of talk to the community in the Northeast Georgia area, and they tell me their concerns. And I actually find speakers to come out and speak to that community about whatever their concerns. I've been in Sparta, Georgia. I've been to Elberton, Gainesville, just wherever people will contact me and say, well, this is the need that we have.
Yes.
We've had everyone, all sorts of speakers to come in and talk about voting rights. We've had speakers to come in and talk about will and estate planning. So usually people, they contact me, this is our need, and I'm like, okay, this is what we're going to do. So hopefully we'll kick that back off starting in January. I want to look at mental health and just wellness. And so.
Well, sounds like we need to bring her on to the Sunflowers in Motion show and bring some of these people around for
Yes.
healthcare awareness. But
Yes.
What I hear in everything you say is service and
Yes.
community, and that's where your heart is, isn't it? Because the whole time you've been talking about the areas in which you serve, you haven't been nervous. You've been talking, and that's the thing. And I told you earlier it was going to be okay, right?
Yes.
Because when you tap into that thing that's your heart,
Yes.
it comes out of you so naturally.
Yes.
So what is it, I guess, about your life or how you were brought up that emphasized to you the importance of being a server?
I would say my grandmother. My grandmother, if I could have what she possessed in her pinky.
Don't make me cry. You know she's going to take me there, right? You know she's going to take me there.
If I could, possess even that much, it would make me a better person. One of my favorite songs is I Give Myself Away. And, with that, and with my grandmother, when we were at her funeral, which I actually do pictures at funeral, and that's
Really?
what I do.
Wow.
And that's what made enduring my grandmother's funeral easier, because I took that role as a photographer, because my grandmother passed away right before the Snowmageddon, and some of our family could not travel up to Pennsylvania.
Wow.
And when people spoke of my grandmother and they talked about how she would send them care packages, whether they were in school or whether they were new families, my grandmother would just, anything that she had, she would give. Now, we were raised Pentecostal, so we were always and constantly, in church. But, even with that said, anything that anyone needed, they knew that my grandmother, mother, sister, or however they referred to my grandmother, that she would make a way and she would try to get that, whether it's food, clothing, and they spoke of her giving and, how wonderful she was, and I just always wanted to be that way. My parents, love them both dearly, and they have always encouraged, me to do these things, because there are times I know they want to tell me to sit still, hold still, but I've always been that type of person. In high school, like, I started the multicultural club, back in the day when we were having, certain conflicts in the county that I lived in, but that's just always been my personality. But I definitely would say it's so much like my grandmother, but I couldn't even measure up to what my grandmother gave.
And I actually have it here. I just published my second book, and it's called Lessons from My Grandmother's Lap.
Wow.
And I wrote it because my grandmother passed August the 14th of 2016.
Wow.
It sounds like you described her. So I'm listening to you, and for me it's the same thing. That's why I asked that question, because normally when you find a person serves on the level that you're serving, that comes from someplace.
Oh, yes.
And that's what I remember. Her taking care of everybody and doing whatever. I mean, even when she was up in years and getting elderly, she would go to other elderly people's houses and clean their houses for them.
Yes.
And we'd be like, it was like she used to always say, "Grandma can't sit still, baby. I get stiff if I sit still."
Exactly.
And she got to find something to do. And she would walk in my house and start folding clothes or whatever. So she would not be still the entire time, but just that need to serve people and let people know that you love them and give to them. So I understand exactly where that comes from. So since we're talking about grandmothers, when is she with us?
She passed away.
You said Snowmageddon.
Yes. It was towards the end of January, and in 2014 she would have actually turned 99.
Wow.
Yes, and so my grandmother, even at 80, that's when she had to start living with someone, which was different, for us, because my grandmother, she's always lived independently. She's always, caught the bus. She's always, just whatever. And so with Alzheimer's, that
same thing.
that just, that was different, and that was different. And the hardest thing was when we were visiting, and my father, he's the baby of hers, and she didn't recognize him. That was tough.
I
That was tough.
remember one of the last times I saw my grandmother, we were doing a birthday party at the facility where she was, because she had started having these like seizure-like episodes that she couldn't stay home anymore. Um, and she would look at us and it was like, I know you, you know. And so everybody was going out around the room and doing different things. And when it got to me, I got up and I began to read Proverbs 31. And as I read it, she looked at me, she said, Regina! I will never forget. It was one of the most special moments of my life. So I know what that means to have that type of example
Exactly.
in your life.
Exactly.
So you mentioned a couple of different organizations that
Yes.
you're passionate about.
Yes.
And tell us about the girls. I want to hear more about the
Okay.
girls organization.
Now, with the girls' organization, Hadia Rouse, she's actually the founder, and so she is definitely the key person to talk about it. However, my connection with the girl is often when they have events and they need someone to come in and take pictures and document. I am that person, but it's a group of girls, African American girls, girls of color, and pretty much their premise is, I know I can be this. I know I can do that. And those girls, I am also part of the Lawrenceville Women's Club. And that organization would take on different components, and we work, and it's a community service. And so we were collecting goods. We were filling the trolley for domestic violence. We were going to donate the items, and the girls came out. They helped collect items from the people as they drove up. They helped us to, stack or pack the trolley, and they were out there with us. And these young ladies, they range from elementary and I think like middle school age. And so my goal is to be more involved with them in their day to day. But up until this point, is a lot of times I'll go out and get a chance to document some of the things that they're doing.
I love that.
Yes, yes.
So, you're involved in a number of things. In terms of your own individual, I guess, dreams and goals, is there something on your bucket list that you like, when I do this, I will have, achieved a major thing that I wanted to in my life? Is there something?
Well, outside of the fact that, I have a son, he's a Marine.
Wow.
Yes, and and my daughter, she's in 11th grade. I figure after I get her situated in college, I would like to go back to school to be an attorney.
Wow, yes.
I would like to look at, so often when children approach tribunals or different things in the school system, I don't think they understand the importance of having someone to help represent them. And I've heard stories and things like that, and with me and my educational background and with having that degree, I think that would be beneficial. And even if I don't do that, just again, that community advocate.
I was just going to say, it's just another way for you to serve. It's just another way for you to serve.
Just that community advocate and being that spokesperson for the students that need it, that will make a difference. I've taught everywhere from DeKalb County to Gwinnett County, and I've just been so fortunate to where parents feel comfortable enough to share things, whether it's, whatever is going on and they need clothing, food, or, things of that. And because of that, many of my students that I taught, they're adults now. I still have that relationship with them. They call me, they involve me in their lives, whether I've done some weddings of my students, some baby showers. And so, I think for me, it's just to continue to serve. I'm not quite sure exactly where. I'm definitely going to be an advocate. I definitely somewhere dealing with children to help them have that voice. Again, and somewhere there is going to still, be photography, because by far that is definitely my passion. It gives me that ability to be comfortable, when, or put me in places that maybe sometimes I am not as confident or as comfortable to go into. But again, my lesson this year is to definitely get out more, put my camera down more, and I'm just really open to see where it takes me. Yes. Because, for a while, it was the camera, which it still is, but I've been so fortunate to have such a great team, to be able to kind of free me up to now step from behind the camera and actually do things like this, actually talk to people without having my camera. And and so again, I can't pinpoint that one thing, because even with my children, I've taught them the joy of service. And so even if I think I have found that one thing with my daughter and the things that she's wanting to do and the things that my son is wanting to do, I'm not sure.
Well, I love the fact that you're continually growing and evolving and trying new things, because so many people get to a certain stage in life and they're like, well, I'm a certain age, I got to kind of stick with this. I can't do anything new. Here I am. I just turned 46 on Friday. New venture, quit my job June 30th. I'm all in Regina Sunshine Global Network right now. And for a lot of people, that's around the time where they're kind of just, trying to kind of coast, right? and get to retirement. But for me, it's important that not only the people around me, but my son and my grandson see me continue to pursue new dreams.
Exactly.
And also to create those multiple streams of income so that they don't have to work for anybody else, to create a family legacy, that goes well beyond my life. So my next question to you is, when you think about your life and the legacy you would like to leave behind, what is that?
Oh, goodness. Again, just that I'm someone who gave. I'm someone who, I guess, again, very similar to my grandmother, just someone who, gave the best that I had to give, and just made those connections. And like you said, that learning component, I'm just always constantly learning, and I want my kids to see that too. My goal is to, I'll be able to retire in about, 11 years. And so I'll be, early 50s, trying to retire. And then that's why I'm like, what else? What else? Where else can I go and learn? And so to continue to learn, so often, I hear people, and they look back on their lives of what they did not accomplish. But so many of us, we have accomplished or started so many things, after 40 or after 30. I
40s
think
are the best. I can tell people.
so I just, again, want to encourage people to continue to learn, to continue to be open to new things, and to value friendships. And because I couldn't be here without my strong family and my friendships and the relationships that I've built, and and to be mindful of those, because so often I don't think people value those relationships.
It makes all the difference in the world. It really does. Well, I'm sitting here, we just announced that we're doing a volume 2 of this grandmother book. I think you need to write about your grandmother in the next volume. I really do.
And that's what's funny, because I'm currently co-writing with a friend, and so that's why I told Farai, I said, I'm the photographer this year and I'm gonna be the photographer next year. However, I'm gonna have a table. And so a friend of mine, Joseph Washington, he wrote Let Go Average, and so he also wrote a children's version of it. 7 principles to live your 7 principles, and his kids are called the Average Breaker Cool Kids. And so I'm putting the educational components to it. We're going to come out with a coloring book with educational activities, and so those are the things that we're doing. And actually today in class, we were writing a personal narrative, and so of course it was my grandmother, and the story that I started writing was about her making chicken and dumpling.
Well, there you go. The chicken and dumpling story should be in the next volume. We're releasing it I think December, January. So and that was, when we did the first book, I didn't know we would do a volume 2, but as people have heard our stories or we've been interviewed on different shows, then people start talking about their grandmother. It kind of brings up those memories, and I'm like, share them, because
that's true.
A lot of, I guess, our kids now don't have the opportunity to spend the type of time we did with our grandmothers. Like I said, with me in the kitchen making biscuits or shelling peas or whatever we were doing. Those times that you don't see them as often with this generation. So those things we learn, those treasures they pass on to us, this for me was a great way for us to pass them forward, to continue to share those stories that they need to hear.
It's so true.
So chicken and dumpling story, I want to hear it. I want to hear the chicken and dumpling story. Well, But please tell our
Yeah.
audience where they can follow you on social media. Also, your website, all that information.
Okay. You guys can follow me at emeryrosephotography.com. We're on Facebook as Emery Rose Photography Pics. We're on Instagram as Emery Rose Photography, and also on Twitter. Eventually, we'll be out on YouTube. And again, it's Emery Rose Photography Production. And with all the things that I do in the community, I figured so many people know me as a photographer that it's about time for me to actually launch my page where it kind of put everything together. So the page is up, but it's under construction, and it's deidrewalker.com. And so eventually, all the different nonprofit organizations that I work with, because I even work with a veterans group, I serve as their public
I'm not surprised.
affairs
There's probably
officer.
some you haven't even listed yet.
And so I just figured it would be easier for people to kind of see all of me, because so often I'm so private that they may see components of me as a teacher, as a mom, as a photographer, and no one has actually had a chance to see all of those components.
Exactly, because even in meeting you and then, briefly looking at your bio, it's just a small
Yes.
part of everything we've heard today. And this people need to know, because one of the things it does is it inspires other people to serve and give. Because a lot of people say, I'm too busy. And I always tell them, find one organization
Right.
that you believe in, one
Yes.
cause that, makes your heart beat fast.
Exactly.
And go and donate an hour a week, 2 hours a week. You will find time to do the things that are important to you.
Exactly.
And so for you especially, people see that. I believe it becomes an inspiration to get out and do the exact same thing, to be a service to their
Yes.
communities.
Yes.
All
Well,
right.
thank
You
you.
want to shout out anybody in the room today? I know you got somebody in the back over there.
Well, if I could just shout out in general to my awesome family, my mom, my dad, my children, Olivia and Preston, and all the people who support me, my best friends, all the way from elementary school, all the way, all the way up, and just everyone, you guys. I couldn't be here without you, and so I just so greatly, appreciate my support. So often they buy into the silliness, even though they want to tell me to sit still. And especially lately, I've been, you hear the laryngitis, and they're like, you're going to do what? You need to sit still. So I just, thank them so much for listening to me through good times, bad times, and just continuing to support me.
Yes. Well, my mama always says, Regina, go take a nap. The world will still need saving when you wake up. That's what she tells me. They will still need saving, and you can get back to work afterwards. So take a nap every now and then, and then get
Yes.
back to saving the world. That sounds
Yes,
good?
yes,
Well, what I
yes.
want you to do, if you can you stay around to the end of the
Yes.
show? So after we interview everyone, we're going to bring all the guests back to close out the show together.
Okay,
Sound
that'd be
good?
awesome, yes.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll have our next guest up here on the Regina Sunshine Show on the Regina Sunshine Global Network.
Hey, gang. Okay, where am I looking? Here? Okay.
All right, you guys, you're back live on the air with Regina Sunshine here on the Regina Sunshine Global Network. And we have our next guest of the day, which I'm sure you notice immediately there's a crown and there's a sash. Welcome to the show, Shannon Deneen.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Girl, you look amazing.
Thank you, girl.
I think I need to get me a sash to wear around.
Come
Can
on.
I get a crown and a sash? Just, you know what? Because that just makes you feel good when you put it on.
It does, absolutely.
Well, I always like to mention how we met. This is the first day we're actually meeting.
We are actually meeting for the first time.
Social media meeting, I guess.
Yeah.
So tell our audience who you are and what you do.
Okay, well, my name is Shannon Deneen Duncan, and I go by Shannon Deneen. I am the current reigning Miss Plus America Elite 2018. I'm getting used to that title because it actually just happened, like July 29th. So this is actually my first live interview that I'm doing. Hey! But I am a writer, a women's empowerment speaker, as our last guest was, a community servant and an advocate. And I'm a girl with a crown, and I just want to use it for good.
Crown. I got to get me a crown now.
Come on over to the pageant, girl. We love to have you.
Don't say it too loud, because my coach is listening.
Pageant,
and she's been talking about me doing a pageant, and I really
yes.
don't want to do a pageant.
Come on over to Miss Plus America. We want you, girl.
She's been talking.
Yes. Hey, coach.
I know she's watching. Not yet, Lanita. Not
yet. Right yet.
This is the thing, though, because I think I told her whatever she asked me to do, I'll do it. So that's why I wish we hadn't even had this conversation.
It's your own personal year of yes. I love it. See me, Lenitra. I'm going to get her signed up. We're going to get her application. You just let me know.
No.
You let me know. Talk to me, girl. Call me.
You're out of my box.
You'd love it. It's so much fun.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's less like a pageant and more like a women's empowerment seminar with like a pageant mixed in. It's amazing. It's a wonderful experience.
I'm all for the women's empowerment.
Yes.
Well, how about this? How about y'all do the pageant and let me go on stage and just speak a little bit and go back in the back and have snacks and water.
We're going to put you in a fabulous gown, honey. We're going to put you on stage. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait.
I know there's somebody listening. I know who it is. It's probably going, yes, do the pageant. I know that. Well, you know, you and I had such a great conversation about the whole plus movement.
Yes.
And I was telling you, and Christina and I was talking about it as well, you know, up until last year, it was for me just women's empowerment.
Yeah.
And I never really thought about the plus side of things. And my coach came to me and she was like, you're a plus size woman.
Absolutely.
You really need to tap into this plus movement.
Absolutely.
And I was like, well, I don't know about that. You know, I feel like I'm leaving certain women out. She's like, trust me, you need to. So it's just now that I'm beginning to embrace being a part of
that movement. And it is, in fact, a movement. There are women out. And the thing we were talking about that I love is plus size women are out here living our best lives.
Shining, sparkling.
Just sparkling.
Winning,
child. We are out here winning. And so that's part of my job as Miss Plus America, is to go around and share with those women, encourage those women, encourage plus size women, and say, hey, listen, I want you to embrace those curves. I want you to embrace where you are in your walk. I want you to go out and live your best life, no matter what size, how many curves you got. Live your best life.
You are such an amazing example of this. I mean, your energy is infectious. But you know, we had that conversation, and let's go ahead.
Come on, friend.
We talked about the varying experiences that plus size women have had, and that there is no one experience, because, and Christine and I had this conversation. You know, I have never been in a space in my life where I wasn't constantly being approached by men.
Really?
And for some reason, there's this narrative that goes on that plus size women are not being approached by men. Fine men will make you stop in your mid-step.
Yes.
Men. And that's just not true. It happens all the time.
All the time.
But that's been my experience.
Right.
And as I've listened to other women, they haven't always had the same experience.
Yeah.
But what do we talk about that was the common denominator?
Confidence.
Confidence.
It's that confidence. You have to have that in order to attract, because that's what attracts a man. It doesn't have. I mean, it does have to do with those curves, and it does have to do with what your body looks like, but it has more to do with what you exude as a woman, and less to do with how your dress is fitting or all of that kind of stuff. What you need, girl, is confidence and a good smile, and that's gonna change your life.
Will change everything. Because, and I think I told you before, about the young lady I was mentoring.
Yeah.
And she told me, she said, when you walked in this room, every man in here was watching you.
Absolutely.
I said, because I walked in here like I owned the room.
Absolutely.
And they want to know why she thinks she the baddest thing moving.
Absolutely.
It makes all the difference in the world.
It does. And by the way, that works when you're talking about getting a man or getting a job or getting anything else in life.
Anything you want
getting
in life.
A crown,
People
getting
wanna
anything.
Give it to you. Let me tell you something. You walk in the room like it's mine, and they were like, well, I'm just supposed to give it to her. Because she came in here like it's supposed to be hers.
She wants it.
Absolutely.
Here it is.
So what made you decide to go into the pageant?
Okay, so I have not competed in a whole lot of pageants in my lifetime. I know that there are a lot of women out there who are, they go into pageantry a lot. I compete about every 8 or 9 years or so.
That's a big gap.
Yeah, girl,
Shannon,
that's a little gap. I like to take a little time, enjoy the crown, But no, I really love the Miss Plus America system, primarily because it is faith-based, which is, I am a woman of faith, so it's faith-based. It focuses on community service and focuses on advocacy, which is something that's huge for me. And also, a lot of the pageant, yes, it does focus on your outer beauty to some extent, but it also focuses on interviews are 50% of your points that you gain. So for me, it's about how well do you speak? Are you intelligent? Do you come across well? And so for me, that says a lot. That adds a lot to your overall beauty. And the pageant aligns with a lot of the values that I find important. So I thought, what a wonderful way for me to get involved and also push my platform, which is sex traffic education. And so that was an excellent, all of these things are an excellent way to bring together a lot of the things that I love.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned the interview. I have done a couple pageants in my life.
Come on, friend.
It's been a long time, but I always wanted to interview.
Okay.
I mean, the interview always, for the pageants I won, there was only one I came in second place, and I don't like doing second place. But anyway, for the ones that every one of them, I was always first interview. And I tell people, I say, you get me in the room, I'm going to talk you into giving me whatever I want.
Come on now.
I'm gonna get it.
That's really
I'm sorry,
it.
Christine. What was that look on your face? Something else. Well, let's get back to your platform.
Okay.
Sex trafficking.
Yes.
Why is that a topic that is important to you?
Okay, so I am a member of the Junior League of Atlanta, and while working for Junior League, one of the organizations that we work with is Wellspring Living, which is a organization that advocates for survivors of sex trafficking and also reacclimates them into society after they've been through the lifestyle and after they've been trafficked. And so while I was working through Junior League, I came across Wellspring and I just fell in love with the girls. I fell in love with the young women. I fell in love with their stories. I fell in love with the fact that we could help them. I also learned some very startling facts about the city that I'm from. I'm from Atlanta.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. I know.
Some very startling facts about the city that I love. So Atlanta is one of the largest cities where sex trafficking happens.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It is a $2.94 million industry, which is horrific to a Georgia peach. I was born and raised here, and so to know that this thing is happening in my city underneath my nose and people are not doing something about it, it upset me, and it frightens me, quite frankly, for the girls that I mentor and for young women between the ages of 8 and 16. It is a
startling thing that is happening to our youth. And so I wanted a way to get involved and a way to actually make a difference. So I started volunteering at Wellspring, and recently I was named to their board of directors so that thank you very much, darling, thank you. But I wanted to be involved because I wanted to do the work, and I want to be able to push this issue. I want to work our way out of this organization. I want to work ourselves so that we don't have this problem, and that this is not a $2.94 million industry in the city of Atlanta. It's crazy.
Well, you know, I found that at those I knew those statistics because Angela Carswell with the Positive Arts Movement,
Yeah.
they have you know, a play they do called Rimshot Urban Musical, and
Okay.
it's about sex trafficking.
Okay.
And I was there, and when they talked about I-20 being the sex trafficking superhighway
Yeah,
and everything, I
yeah.
was like,
Crazy, isn't
"What?"
it? Crazy.
You know, so these things are happening. We are walking by these situations every day.
Absolutely.
And we don't even know it.
And here's the other startling fact that I learned. So people think that have a misconception that sex trafficking is happening to those people, right? It's happening to low-income families. It's happening to minority kids. It's happening. No, guys, it's happening to all of us. And it is happening in every single county in Georgia. Every single county. Don't think because you live in a great area, a great neighborhood, it's happening in Buckhead, it's happening in Bankhead. It's happening all over our state. And so for me, that was atrocious. Like, if no one speaks for our kids, you know what I'm saying? Our babies are out here being sold at to the highest bidder, and we're sitting around doing nothing. So that's unacceptable to me, and that's why I wanted to get involved.
Well, you know, when she began sharing that information, you know, and just talking about how the entertainment industry and the sports industry, especially in a city like this,
Yes.
is big. That's why, because you have people traveling into town,
Absolutely.
looking.
Absolutely.
I mean, they didn't just stumble upon a 10-year-old girl. No, they were looking for
Asking
a
for her.
10-year. Exactly, and it's happening. And one other thing, I found a video because she was telling me just to go and research and everything. It was somewhere here in Georgia. There was a teacher at a high school running a sex trafficking ring with girls out of his high school.
Out of his high school.
And they thought that they were going over there for tutoring and stuff. No, he had men in the community coming by his house and getting these girls.
In his house, probably in his nice house.
In his nice house,
with his
absolutely.
well manicured lawn.
Yes. Really nice neighborhood.
Absolutely, absolutely. You got to know that it's not the scary looking men all the time. It's the banker, the teacher, the pastor. It's those normal looking men who don't pose a threat to your kids. Those are the ones you need to be looking for and looking at. And being careful of those guys.
That's why my mama used to say, you can't go over there because I don't know what's going on over there. But they can come they can come over here.
That's it.
And that was the thing. The reason I think they got caught, one of the girls told her mother. And that was the only, and he had been doing this for years, running these girls through his house. Somebody that the entire community trusted. So, yes, I'm so glad that you are bringing awareness because it needs to be heard.
Absolutely.
Because, and I even heard of some girls that were being trafficked, braiding hair at these braiding shops.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you think they're in there voluntarily? No, their parents want them to come to America to have an opportunity to get an education, and they bring them over here and take their passports and stuff and stick them in a shop, make them braid hair.
And a lot of the time when we're talking about women from other countries, those women's lives have been threatened. Their families have been threatened. It's not like they have just come over here of their own free will. A lot of them have been told, hey, we got a job for you. There'll be a better life over there for you. You can send money back home to your family and come back and bring them over. And then they get here and it's a completely different situation. And think about how you would handle that if you were in a whole nother country. You didn't have a passport, no driver's license, you don't really speak the language. You got all these other things going on and you're told that you're going to be sold. Like, that's crazy to me.
Yes, and there was a story in Georgia. There were some girls and they were being held for braid, and I said it because for braiding.
Yeah.
And the neighbors said they always felt like something weird was going on over there. They weren't feeding these girls. They would make them braid hair until they almost pass out, take them home, put them in the basement.
Yep.
Same thing. Their parents thought they were coming to go to school.
Yep.
And they were over here, you know, just being enslaved.
Being enslaved, and it's crazy.
And slavery is still really real. People think that it is
not
so
going anywhere.
real right now. Wow. So what's next for you, Miss Shannon? What you got going on?
Well, so I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm doing a couple of things. I'm working on my business, and I'm working on a book.
Well, tell us.
Because I'm a writer.
We're gonna talk about the book.
Yeah, we can. I mean, we can
What's
talk
going on
about
with the book,
we can
then?
talk about the book a little bit. So the book is about friendship, and one of the things I find in a community of women is that we don't always know how to be friends, and I think that is why we can't get where we're trying to go, and that women as a whole aren't on the next level yet because we don't know how to work together. So the book is about, I have two best friends who I've had since the age of 9.
Oh,
and
that's
it
what's
basically,
up.
yeah, right? So we're almost a 30-year friendship. And what I love about that is we learn from each other, we encourage each other, we help each other grow. And so my goal with this book is to talk to women who have had long-term friendships, 20-year friendships or longer, and to be able to chronicle what they've learned, how you have those friendships, how do we get along, how do we work through conflict, because I think that's a big thing. We get in conflict, and then we stop talking, and then we don't handle the issue, right? So we want to figure out ways and talk about the ways that we get through those conflicts so that we can get to those 7 streams of income together, so that we can grow the community together, so we can take care of our kids and our people together.
I love the concept. You know, taking what has already worked and talking to those and sharing it, because you're right. You know, I actually have a workshop I do called A Real Sisterhood. Where we talk about those underlying issues that cause women not to work together, not to be friends. And what I found is that a lot of times in families, without knowing it, parents and other families create competition between blood sisters that now leads to them feeling they got to compete with every other woman in the world.
So true.
She's the pretty sister. She's the what sister, and oh, she's grandmama's favorite. And the first time I did that workshop in a corporate environment, it was at a Chamber of Commerce event. The women came in, real serious.
Yes.
Before we left, they were all crying. And they began to relive,
Yeah.
what made me dislike other women, what made me not trust other women. They found that it was so deep rooted.
Yep.
That you got to dig that stuff up
And take it out of there.
Absolutely.
Take it out of there. So that's what we want to talk about. And we want to talk about the reasons and how deep it goes and why it's killing us. Think about the last election, if we had been able in the last election to all bond together as sisters. Think about the change we could have made. So I think that we have got to learn we've got to undo those habits that we've learned as sisters. Think about the fact that when we walk in a room, most women size each other up when we walk in a room. Do we not?
They do, and I talk about that all the time. My thing is, your perspective should be different. Number one, if she come in and she's looking amazing, it shouldn't be girl, look, it should be girl, you look
Wow,
good.
you look good.
When did you get your
Yeah.
hair done? Those types of things, as opposed to seeing it as competition. But again, I believe it goes back to women thinking that there has to be one that's shining as opposed to everybody shining.
You know, the thing, I love Destiny's Child and I love Beyonce, but I also love Kelly. And one of the things Kelly was saying, because people kept asking her about, oh, how does it feel to be Beyonce's second? Or how does it feel? Do you feel like there's enough room to be going up against your friend? And she said, there's enough money out here for all of us. We can all eat and we can all win. And I too am a celebrity, just like my sister Beyonce. And I can do my thing and still be happy for her while she's doing her thing.
Absolutely.
That blessed my soul.
That is so good, because that question, I think, comes up more in a conversation with women than it does with men. Men get that.
Yep.
More than women do. But again, I believe that's something that's fed to us.
Absolutely.
And so they kind of take that and it continues to fester and grow. But conversations and book like you're having changes that narrative.
Yeah.
So that we don't have to, you don't have to believe that. It's not true. Women can work together. Women
Absolutely.
do love each other. We do support each other.
Yep.
So I'm excited. You got to let us know when the book comes out.
Yes.
Come on back through here with the book.
I
Let's
will.
talk about it.
We'll do a whole tour.
Sounds good. So, same question I asked Deidre, in terms of legacy,
Okay.
and the legacy you want to leave behind. So, when you look back over your life, you're in your 90s, you're running up to that 120 that the word says we can have.
Come on now.
What
I
do you
receive
want
it.
your life's legacy to be?
I want people to say about me that she changed the way that I thought and she encouraged me to think.
I don't think anybody has ever given that answer. Go ahead and explain.
I want to be the woman that changes the narrative. I want to be a woman who sits down and says, think about your life and think about how it can be better. I want to encourage women to live your best life, but to do it through action. See, I think we get a lot of pep talks. Like we pep talk each other to death. I want women to look at me and say, not only did she encourage me to be better, but she gave me the tools I needed to get better. And that's the legacy I want to leave. I want to leave that for my kids and my grandkids. I want to leave it for women all over the world. I just want you to be better, and I want you to know in your heart of hearts that you deserve the absolute best. That's the legacy I want to leave.
I love that. I do, because anybody who knows me, I'm all about action. Christina tell you, anybody comes in my space and they mention they want to do something, oh, we're not talking about it anymore. It's time to move. Yeah. We're not having another conversation until you get some movement, get your feet moving. That's and in fact, if I have the opportunity to put you in a space where I can force you to do that thing that you're afraid to do, I absolutely will.
I'm here for that.
That's what I do. People that know me know that don't always be ready.
Yeah.
When you around me, you don't know what you're going to do. You're going to be on camera. You're going to be on the stage. You're going to be somewhere.
Out of your comfort zone.
Out of your comfort zone.
I love it. I love it.
So back to confidence. I want to touch on this before you go.
Yes.
What are some of the practical ways that you can suggest to not just women, but people listening, that they can build that confidence?
So I think confidence starts in your mind. It starts with the way that you think about yourself and the way that you feel about yourself. And it also deals with your self-talk. So what are you telling yourself? If you're telling yourself that you're unattractive, if you're telling yourself that you're not worthy, if you're telling yourself those things, that is what is going to come out of you. And so what you've got to start doing is speaking to yourself and affirming yourself, affirming the things that you want in your life, telling yourself, hey, I am going to be wealthy. I am beautiful. I am amazing. All the dudes in the room do want me. Like,
absolutely, they do.
All the dudes in the room do want me. And so those are the things you've got to start with. You have got to tell yourself the things that you want, because the universe and the Lord God will give you those things once you start to affirm and start to put those things in the atmosphere. So stop telling yourself those negative things. Start there. And then the next step is act on what you're saying to yourself. If you don't walk out of the house looking a mess, if you're beautiful, beautiful women don't do that. We walk out of the house looking amazing. We walk out of the house feeling amazing. We walk out of the house with our head held high. You've got to be able to act on what you're saying. If you're saying, I am a woman of wealth, then you have to act like a woman of wealth. You have to do the things that wealthy women do. And so that's an important part of it's think it and do it. Think it and do it. And when you start getting those steps in order, that builds your confidence.
It absolutely does. That sounds like Regina's Sunshine State of Mind, 7 Keys to help you get your mind right.
Come on.
My first book.
Yes. Come on, book. I love it.
Well, do this. Tell our audience where they can follow you, how they can keep up with everything that you have going on.
Awesome sauce. Well, you can catch me on all the social medias at Shannon Deneen. That's ShannonDenean. You can also catch my page. You can catch me on my website, shannondeneen.com, and subscribe. I would love for you to subscribe so that you can keep track of all the things that I'm doing. You can also reach me on Facebook at Miss Plus America Elite. You can hit me on that page as well. And I think that's all the places. But all the social medias, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, all of those.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a break. We're going to bring our other guests back. And
awesome.
We're going to close out the show together.
Sure.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back here live on the Regina Sunshine Show on the Regina Sunshine Global Network. out here. That's what I tell people. People come out here and they're like, we love the energy. We just gonna be laying on the stage. All right, you guys, you are back live on the air with your girl Regina Sunshine here on the Regina Sunshine Show on the Regina Sunshine Global Network. And I have both of my guests from today's show coming to help me close out the show. And one of the things I like to do at the end is just give our guests an opportunity to encourage our audience. And so my question of the day is this. If there's someone who's watching and there's a dream or a goal that they think, I'm just too old at this stage in my life to do something new, but that thing is still burning inside of them. And I'll start with you, Deidre. What is your word of encouragement to them?
Go for it. Do it. You know, the moment that you think that you can't, you can. And, you know, you need to find that circle of friends or find that circle that keep you encouraged, but also that keep you humble. But I really would say you can do it. I'm living proof of it. You know, there's so many things when I was younger that, you know, I always wanted to be a teacher. I did that. But there are so many other components of me that came at a later point of my life. And like you said, with certain things that happened, other things came about. Do it, you know, learn something new. Find those friends that encourage you. Find me. You know, so often I've had the joy of being able to connect people with other people. And within our group, you know, we definitely, you know, find those people that they can connect with. So, you know, just do it, you know. And so that's.
I love that.
Yes.
Thank you.
So I would say the key to anything, whether you are 5 or 95, is plan and then execute. Plan and execute. Feel the fear, take the step. Feel the fear, take the step. Because there are a lot of things. Fear is just something. Fear is made up in your mind. Fear doesn't actually exist,
That's
right? It's a made up concept that you take on. And so my thing is feel that, feel it. But then take the next step towards what you need to do. Plan out with your steps and how you want to get to your goal, and then execute those steps. And I promise you, even if you don't get to that goal, the place that you'll get is exactly where you're supposed to be.
Absolutely. Put that hashtag, feel the fear.
Take the step.
Take the step. Hashtag Christine, feel the fear, take the step. I like that
Feel
a lot.
the fear, take the step.
Second question, we talked earlier about confidence and building confidence. Are there any tools or books or anything that you can suggest to our audience that is helpful in your own life, or that you can say, hey, go get this book, or hey, watch this speaker, or hey, take this course? Just something practical, hands-on that they can go and do today to begin making that change. Teacher.
Let's see. I'm sorry, I can't think of a book right off, but often with mentorship.
Yes.
You know, I often encourage young women to get out and mentor because so often, you know, they're great at what they do, but they always like, you know, so often with me, we're doing that behind the scene thing. So I try to connect some of the young ladies that I see and know, and even some of my, you know, like male, with like a classroom teacher to help to connect to other kids. And, you know, over time you'll see that confident, you know, as they continue to get out and do things outside of the box. I've been so fortunate that a lot of my students' families will allow me to take them to do some of the things that I do in the community to help build those bridges and build that connection, in which, you know, for them will build that confidence. And so for me, it's that doing component, that if I can show them that you can do it, that you can strive for it, that's where I've seen that confidence build in with a lot of people that I work with through like that mentorship and connecting with other people, you know.
That's a great tip. That's a great tool. Absolutely. Shannon?
So I do have a book, and I actually share it every time I have the opportunity. I keep it with me all the time, everywhere I go. It's actually in my bag over there. It's called Five. It's a red book. It's kind of thin, and it's Where Will You Be in the Next 5 Years? it helps you to think through your 5-year plan. And it helps you to take those steps towards your 5-year plan and take those steps to what you want to do and what you want to accomplish. It's a tiny book, but it's a workbook. And what it encourages you to look at people like Oprah Winfrey and people like what is the guy's name who owns the Falcons? Arthur Blank.
Yeah,
People like that who have failed at something and gotten back up and moved on to the next thing, and look where the next thing brought them. Yeah. And so that is the kind of, get the 5 book. I will post it. I'll post a link to it because I have it. But get the 5 book to help you kind of plan out your life and plan and then execute.
I love it. I love it. Well, we thank you guys so much for being here. As y'all can see, we have a toddler in distress in the back. But it's all good. That's one thing about building business with your family.
Yes.
You got family in the building.
Yes.
But thank you so much for being here. I didn't say at the beginning, but, you know, I looked at the guest I was having for today, and I felt like this show really fit under our Black Female Excellence series. So we'll be posting it under our Black Female Excellence series as well. So I'll leave you guys with the words I always leave you with. Remember this: God loves you just the way you are. You are beautiful because you were created in love. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. You have the seeds of greatness within you. You were born to live a victorious life. You are brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous. You are worthy of the best things in life. I do want to shout out my sponsors again. Anita Mitchell-Blackwell with Leading Through Living and with Bold Favor Magazine. You can go to leadingthroughliving.com or either boldfavormagazine.com. And also Makeup Express over at South DeKalb Mall. Also, you can look for them on Facebook or Instagram under Makeup Express, and they have amazing VIP travel makeup services. All right, so that's it. My personal motto: I always say it's not over till I win. If I hadn't won yet, that just means it's not over. So I tell you today, it's not over till you win. If you hadn't won yet, baby, that just means it's not over. Be blessed and keep winning. We're out.